So Amit Bungani are a non-profit investigative outfit that started before we did, actually. And they started in another publication. They sort of popularized that standalone non-profit investigative, focused outfit, and did some incredible work. And we collaborated and worked with them over the past. We launched our own internal investigative team, loosely modeled on that. Possibly the biggest investigative body of work that has happened in post-democratic South Africa was a collaboration between ourselves and Amit Bungani and the biggest news publisher in the country, when we got, a cache of emails and documents from a hard drive from the family that was basically controlling the president and a whole bunch of ministries in the country for their own debt. Together, we worked on a series of this body of work called the Gupta Leaks, more than 70 exposés, that led to this corrupt relationship, that led to or contributed to a lot of protests, public protests, and people being fed up with the corruption and the lack of accountability, and eventually also contributed to a change in government. And so, a change in the ruling party's leadership. President's ex-wife was running. The theory was that she was going to run and take over, and he would still be influencing her in the background. But that body of work is an incredible example of collaboration, of the power of public interest journalism being freely accessible instead of being stuck behind a paywall. We would have made a ton of money if we had had a paywall then, but there's also a good chance we might have had a different president of the country. And that kind of weighs on us when we think about, when people say, why don't you just put up a paywall and all your financial problems be gone? Well, that's not the only thing that'd be gone. Potentially the country would be gone too.
Right.
And so those are the kinds of things that we sort of, the stakes are much, much higher here. That body of work led to a whole series of changes, both in the political landscape, as well as for us in terms of building our voluntary membership program on top of that, after that, which then, as that took off, helped us make massive progress on the sustainability front, which we reinvested in growing the newsroom, growing size of the organization, which then helped bring in more people and help create more impact. And so it started to create this like flywheel effect for us. And so there was a massive, everything changed after that body of work.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So it created a virtuous cycle upwards, basically.
It did. And, through that collaboration and through the impact of that work, we were able to then leverage that and go, okay, look, we've done this. This is the value of that. Help us do more. And at the same time, we're going to keep our journalism free for anyone to be able to access, which is especially important in a country that has such high income inequality, that has such low income per capita, and we have so many unemployed people, right? And so, we often say for the truth to have impact, it also needs that reach. So all of those things kind of went into the designing of the membership program, why it's voluntary, why people could choose the amount of the contribution, and then they know that they're helping to keep the journalism free to others who can't afford to pay, so that we can have this maximum impact, and at the same time build a community around what we're doing, which is much more than just a simple donation of funds, right? We create opportunities for the membership community to engage in our work, to participate in all sorts of different, from our events to, covers for the books that we publish, to ideas for panels, or to, all sorts of different ways of making themselves available if we need them as experts in their own rights. Often some of the most prominent experts in their field are part of our membership plan, and they're in this database that we can just access and go, hey, there's this environmental law agent. I mean, we had been, so that could be a great source for commentary, or maybe even an investigation, for example.